Paedophiles are deceptive people. They're patient people. Everything they do is well thought out, well planned, you know. And, you know, it's a cognitive distortion, you know, how they twist things, how they become the victim, how they groom, you know. And grooming is no different, and this might sound like sour grapes, but how a guy who's good at chatting up women, what does he tell her? He just wants to have sex with her, right? And that's it, because that's how men are, and that's what they do. The women aren't built the same as men. They're, you know, there might be one or two, but on the whole, they want to go out for a drink, and these blokes, right, I want to have sex, So they're going to tell that woman everything she wants to know. They're going to tell her how she smells nice, how she looks nice, how this and that. And then he gets his prize, and then he's off to the next one, He's a player. He's a player. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. Very similar traits, and I'm not saying that players are paedophiles. I'm not. I'm just putting an analogy out there so people can understand the process. A groomer. Now, it's not a monster that grooms a child. It's a kind man that grooms a child or woman. And I want to go on about females in paedophilia. And they're nice, you know, they're endearing, you know, they want to, but they've got an agenda, and their agenda is to have sex with that child. And not just have sex with that child.
Well, not really kind. They're putting the persona on, yeah.
I ended up, luckily, I was one of the very few coppers that got trained in profiling. It wasn't to a degree standard, but it was a hands-on. I worked with one of the best profilers in the UK back then. A guy that was based in Southern Ireland, and you know, I learnt so much from him. And there's one of the videos that when they're working with paedophiles, and it's all to do with grooming, how grooming works. And they put a guy in a chair, and they sit him down, and another paedophile's job is to convince him to get off the chair. You know, whatever it takes, get him off that chair. No violence, no nothing. So he'll tell him, hello, mate, it was all nice. Come and stand up to see what you look like. And that other guy's brief is just do your best to stay in that chair, you know. And, of course, he doesn't. He doesn't move. He doesn't do it. But this fella's nice. He's offering him a cigarette. He's offering some chocolate. And ultimately, the paedophile can't control himself, right? And then he flips, and the monster comes out. And then the next thing, you watch this video, and it was so consistent with all the people that were put in the scenario. And once he's had enough, and he just tears into the bloke who's on the chair. And he said that's what happens when the child doesn't acquiesce.
Yes.
The monster comes out. So it's not a monster that grooms a child. These paedophiles are monsters. They are monsters. They're evil. But it's only... And I interviewed a very high-profile child murderer once, a woman. And I become a specialist interviewer, and it was just I've got a natural ability to communicate, and luckily the police recognised it. You know, one of the good things they did do, and they exploited it. And I'm glad they did, because it took me all over the place. You know, doing all sorts of things and ultimately teaching these skills. And same with this woman, she was endearing, she was nice, she was that, all that. But then the moment I cross-examined her. And the moment, because there is a skill when you get into that level of interviewing, and it's neuro-linguistic programming part of it, and a lot of it is understanding how people work, and that was it. She just kicked off. The moment she realised she'd been rumbled, she called me, "See you next Tuesday," spat in my face, and just went mad. And it happened like that. And I said, "There you go. That's a monster your son sees." And even our solicitor was just dumbfounded. He just
because that's the thing people don't realise there's plenty of female paedophiles, right? There are. We have this image of the paedophile being the kind of the almost like the outcast white middle-aged nerd, right?
White man living with his mum. Yeah. You know, bit of a loner, very polite. You know, like the Thomas Hamilton, the Dunblane murderer. But it's not. No. You know, and this is one of the things that I set out to do, and I tried to do this in the police. You know, to change what paedophile looks like. I dealt with paedophiles that were good-looking Kosovan, Albanian refugees, good-looking guys, you know, like young Italian lads, young Jamaican guys, Greek guys, white guys, mixed-race guys, you know, young, in their 20s and 30s, are having sex with young kids and women. The one thing you'll find with women is a deception that a man can't attain. There is a level of spite and deception that goes along with women and abusing.
So what are they doing to the kid? I don't want to go too, but I kind of need to know this. Like, what levels are these women going to?
There was
molesting or
sexually abusing. I mean, there was one woman. She was getting her child, and she was getting the feet of the child, and she was putting them up her vagina, and sort of reenacting the birth of the child.
Yeah,
all the time. A woman was putting like sugary stuff, whatever, on her vagina and getting her little baby, because the babies they've got a natural ability to suckle.
Yeah.
And so instead of breastfeeding the baby, she was putting it on a clitoris, and she was doing that. One guy was in a care home, and he said, that the men were abusing him. He said, but the women were the worst. And he said there was loads of us young boys from 6 to 13, and every day we'd have to go to the school hall. We all had to strip off naked. So you're getting boys prepubescent and pubescent. We'd all have to line up, and the head mistress of the school would sit there and make all the girls of this residential school watch. They were all clothed, while she took them one by one, she caned them and fiddled with their genitals, and then off they went to get changed and then get ready for their evening meal. Every night that went on. Every night.
In a care home?
In a care home. Every single night. And it, I've heard of people having their genitals whipped. One guy told me that it's so sad. He was a lovely man. He helped survivors. Lovely old man. And there was pain in his voice. I said, what's your story, my friend? He went, no, I just help. I said, why? Everyone's got a reason for doing this. And he said, well, I was in a care home. And he was made to strip naked, and a woman teacher would whip his penis with a ruler so badly that it ruptured it, and he could never get an erection. And what was sad about this, he said, he was 80 years old, this man, old man telling me, and he said, what was sad thing about this is that back then you never had sex until you were married, and you would court a girl, you'd take a girl out, and I was in love. I wanted to marry this girl, she loved me and I loved her, but I couldn't get an erection. And we planned a marriage, and I jilted her because I knew that I could never sexually give her what she wanted. And I had to run away. I didn't have the balls, it was too much, and I did it, not for me, but for her, because I would never be able to sexually please her. I'd never be able to have sex with her, because his penis wouldn't work in that way, because it just been whipped mercilessly by a woman with a ruler when he was a boy. So, and the satanic abuse takes that to an even darker level. That takes it to, a murdering level. And if we could...
Yeah, so we have the paedophilia, basically, and that kind of permeates, I would say, almost all institutions. It's part of every part. It's there everywhere, right? But then it kind of goes into more of the darker aspects of paedophilia, right? Is there like a kind of a link between it all, or is it just two separate things?
Yeah, you'll find a lot of the problems in society are down to paedophilia. Yeah, a lot of them. And what you have in society, you have economic crime. They give it all these stupid names now, but on the whole, it's a reserve of the lower and the working classes, the council estates, right? Where it's
petty crime,
petty-minded, car thieving, burglary, people robbing their own people, mugging each other and all that. It's brain damage crime. It's idiotic stupidity, poverty-driven crime. So I just a bit insistent. However, paedophilia is different. Paedophilia knows no social boundaries. It knows no religious boundaries. It knows no economic issues. It just knows no gender issues. It is like a hot knife through the butter of society. It cuts through everything, and it will unite so many people. And that's why you will see organised criminals knowing MPs. That's why you'll have MPs knowing prostitutes. That's why all these MPs will know lower class people, and you think, how do they know each other? And I'll keep picking on MPs here, but
can I just start before we go? What is it about children that's so appealing as opposed to just a prostitute, you think?
Children, it's all about power.
Right.
They enjoy sex with children. These are damaged people that get an immense amount of pleasure from having sex with a child. It invigorates them. if we stick with a man having sex with a 7-year-old girl, this isn't a man that could pleasure a grown woman. You know, there's a problem there, a deep-rooted, mental, cognitively distorted issue going on. They enjoy it. They enjoy the pain it gives them, the fear it gives them.
The pain it gives them?
Yeah, well, the pain it gives the child, you know.
Oh, the pain it gives the child,
they enjoy it. Right, I said to one guy, I said, right, come on now, you know, what is it? What is it? And he said, I remember being in a flat with 3 other paedophiles, and we wanted to get a boy, right? And he said, have you ever seen heroin addicts without any drugs? I said, oh, all the time. He said, they were pacing up and down. He said, and then the mobile phone went, and the call came from the fella that was out scouting for a kid. I don't know where he was procuring it from. And he said, I've got us a boy. And he said it was like everyone, it was like a pressure cooker letting the valve open. Everyone relaxed.
Oh, God.
And he said, and when you have sex with that boy, you felt high, you felt invigorated. And, you know, and it's food for them, you know. These are people that enjoy what they do.
Is there any preference? Do they prefer a boy to a girl, these paedophiles?
Yeah, they will have a preference.
Yeah.
But what they call paedophiles, they're trisexual. Right. They're not homosexual. They are not bisexual. They're trisexual. They will try anything. Right. Okay. They call it trisexual. And it's just a bastardisation of a term, you know. So, again, we'll just stick with men. You know, I will come on to the women. Yeah. You know, I reserve a little place for the women when I deal with the satanic stuff and what they've been involved in. You know, with a man, he likes pre-pubescent, pre-7-year-old. The age means a lot as well. Some like babies. We saw that with Ian Watkins, the Lost Prophet singer. You know, abusing babies. You know, and a lot of his files have been locked away for 40 years. Why? You know, so he'll like a 7-year-old pre-pubescent girl, but he'll have sex with a teenage boy. You know. But that's what he likes. They've got their demographic, what they want, you know, what they prefer. But they are a danger to all children. All children they're a danger to.